What's up, you pencil neck geeks? Welcome to the world-famous Comedy Store. This is the Store Horsemen podcast. This is your boy, the Darkitect, speaking, leader of the Dark Foundation. To my left, the Golden Pony will be here in a little bit. No Matt, no Johnny today, but we got Eddie Firth in the building. What's up, man?
How's it going? Have you been washing that shirt? Because I like to imagine that you've had it on the entire time since Storecade.
It may or may not leave my person from time to time. I don't know. I like the way it feels on me.
It's like wrestler's gear. I like that because if you see it, it really does look like the Heart Foundation logo, and it looks like what Brett would wear to the ring every week. So this is good.
Yeah, man. You gotta, product placement is what I'm all about.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Whether it be a Ridge wallet, whether it be a T-shirt, whatever it is.
It's a gorgeous shirt. Where can they get it?
Just DM me. I got them. Or go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Store Horsemen. Our entire inventory of tees is right there on the front page if you go and take a look there. But you should go there anyway because you should like us, you should share our videos there, and you should watch us right on Facebook Live as we are right now every single week, Wednesday at 7:15.
And if you guys like what I'm wearing, you can't afford it. So
Is that right?
No. It's an H&M shirt. Are you kidding me?
That's right. Oh, man. Where to begin? We just had the go-home show for Monday Night Raw, at least, for TLC, WWE TLC, that is.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a little AEW Dynamite this week, watched a little NXT, so I'm actually pretty caught up.
What'd you like? What stood out? What are you excited for?
See, excited for is a strong...
That's a strong word.
It's a super strong word. It's just like... I don't know, man. As I've been saying week in and week out, it seems like Monday Night Raw is just kind of circling its wheels a little bit. Like, I just don't know. Like, Seth Rollins turns heel this week fully. And actually, CM Punk made a good point how it's like, it's ironic that Seth is like, no one likes him as a good guy right now. And now they're going to cheer him like for trying to, for trying to be bad.
Yeah.
But even the heel turn seemed kind of rushed.
The execution didn't seem as strong. I knew he'd come in and be like, he turned heel. It's obviously what we're interested in. Whatever happens next is more interesting than what we've seen thus far.
For sure.
But it certainly wasn't as impactful as a turn. And this also, I think we talked about this one time, but one of the most interesting piece of advice I ever heard from X-Pac, actually, from Sean Waltman.
Really?
He was backstage at a
Protect your asshole when doing a fucking Bronco Buster.
I tore my asshole again.
Son.
The second time.
Such a great clip.
Scorpio Sky and Bateman were wrestling, and Bateman was going to do a heel turn. And they did it backstage. Bateman attacked Scorpio Sky in the entranceway right before he went out.
Yeah.
And Sean was like, if you're going to do a heel turn, why would you not do that in front of the audience? You always do the heel turn in front of the live crowd so that the live crowd can react, and that's the reveal. That's what you're looking for.
Right.
And in this instance, that I think was probably the impact we were missing. If it's even if it's the cliched AOP's about to beat Kevin up in the ring, Seth stops him, and then he stomps him in the middle of the ring, at least the crowd can respond.
Yeah, I feel like they need to get a whiteboard and write down 28 different ways someone can turn heel so that they stop doing the same 3 ways that people turn heel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's always like, oh, are you with these guys? No, I'm not with these guys. Okay, yeah, I'm with these guys.
Yeah.
Or it's, we're tag team partners. I'm mad. I beat you up. Or it's, are you going to use this weapon on the bad guy? No, I'm going to use it on you instead. It's always one of 3 ways that people turn heel. And I'm just like, you can't, like, what? There's a fun question. What are some of the most memorable heel turns that you've seen in your long career of watching wrestling? And Storecade doesn't count.
I mean, that would be number one. 1A, obviously, to me, the most impactful heel turn is Sean turning heel on Marty.
Yeah.
Mostly because of where the career goes. Obviously, if it peters out, it's not the same. But when you realized we're about to see that, obviously, Brett and Stone Cold doing the double turn where Brett turns heel in the middle of the match is awesome.
Amazing, yep.
Obviously.
You know what's funny about the Shawn Michaels one?
Which
People
one?
have Mandela effect
Yeah?
about that about that heel turn.
How so?
So many people have described that piece of history to me as Shawn Michaels super kicking Marty Jannetty through the barbershop.
Oh,
window.
yeah.
And that did not happen.
No, he kicks him, then he throws him
yeah,
through.
100%.
And then the part that really struck me is when he grabs the magazine and he goes, "Is there a problem with the Rockers?" And he rips it in half and holds up his picture and he goes, "I don't think so," and throws it down.
Fantastic. Great work.
Macho Man and Hogan when it was the Mega Powers and that slow build.
Yep.
That's a good one. There's got to be more modern ones that I'm just not thinking of at the moment.
Yeah.
I'll say this, I didn't like Stone Cold's turn at 17.
I don't think anybody did.
It's I agree with him, the idea of you team with Vince just to get over and then you turn on Vince and that's perfect to the character, but this idea that he'd align with him just to get the title didn't work as well.
Right.
What about you? What are your strong heel turns?
I mean, obviously the Shawn is great. I liked something as subtle as Andre the Giant fucking approaching Hogan on was it Piper's Pit?
Yeah.
When he's just like, dude, how long have we been friends if you've never given me a title shot?
Yeah.
Now Bobby Heenan's my manager and I'm coming for it. You know what I mean? Like, that's all you needed.
Yeah.
You didn't need any grand gesture for it to happen, and that shit has stuck in my mind forever. I'm trying to think modern too, though.
I got one if you don't.
Oh wait, I got fucking Ciampa.
Oh yeah,
Ciampa turning was a big deal.
Yeah,
mainly because of the production. Like they gave us the credits, like Takeover was over, and they're standing there.
Yep.
And then it was the typical we were tag team partners, and I'm frustrated now, but because it was executed so perfectly, you thought the show was over, and then it just shocked you.
Yeah,
that was pretty great. I didn't really even like the first Seth Rollins heel turn, honestly, when he turned on the Shield.
I'll tell you one we missed. It's going to be so obvious. Hogan turning heel at Bash at the Beach. That's
yeah.
Yeah. Other than Bobby Heenan blowing the load.
Yeah.
I do like that they edit that out of future viewings of it.
Sure do.
Bobby didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, man, classic stuff. Speaking of which, the NWO being announced this weekend along with Dave Bautista to be the first inductees into the WWE Hall of Fame, WrestleMania weekend. Now, they made it very specific that the NWO members that were going in were Hogan, Hall, Nash, and X-Pac, who you brought up earlier, which, strange to me, I mean, I sort of get it, but if I'm not mistaken, X-Pac was 6, right?
Yeah.
And that's 4 guys going in.
That's 4 guys going in.
So what about the other 2 in the middle?
Was it DiBiase and...
It was, the 4th one was the Giant and then DiBiase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man... Look, X-Pac is an odd inclusion because you could just say the 3 guys, and I see X-Pac as the inclusion for his totality to that group and what it was. Because the guys you mentioned too are not nearly as strong as an NWO figure as he would have been in that way.
But was he though? Like I keep trying to remember Six as a member of the NWO, and wasn't the whole thing that he got fired early in that situation, and he ended up coming to WWE and joining DX.
And I would make the case that outside of the 3,
the
NWO really isn't anything. I think the minute it's not just those 3, then it's not really NWO to me in the same way. Like I liked how it was including members, and obviously the Sting back and forth was a big thing and all of this, but ultimately.
Yeah, that fake Sting was a member before.
Yeah.
I feel like X-Pac really.
That's the group to me is the 3 of them at their best, and that run right at the beginning of it, that was all you needed. But it's not going to trouble me that X-Pac is included just because I lump him in with those guys anyway.
Sure.
It's close enough to the click, and so it's exactly what Shawn, Razor, Diesel, and Hunter said.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to stay up here. We're going to do DX, and we'll run the North. You go down south, you do NWO, and you run that area, and we'll control everything. And they really did. So X-Pac is just as interchangeable in the 2 because of that spot.
Can you think of any members of the NWO? Because, I mean, it seemed like at some point every member of wrestling was a member of NWO at some point. But are there any members that you could think of that should be included in the stable? Bischoff
should be included because when he joins NWO and becomes part of that team, it makes it the exact opposite of Vince fighting Stone Cold. The corporation is now the bad guy too, and it's the rebel, and it's going to do whatever it wants.
Totally.
I would say those guys are. You could make a case for Macho Man.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't make a strong one.
When I think of NWO, the guys that I remember seeing all the time that I really remember being members were the three core guys, Bischoff, and honestly Scott Steiner.
Yeah, interesting.
Buff Bagwell, weirdly enough. And just because I'm a weirdo, I like Scott Norton and Chono, just because they were like the Japanese member. Well, Scott Norton's not Japanese, but like they were in New Japan repping NWO.
Yeah.
And I always like got a kick out of that. I'm like, holy shit, they have like, who does that? Like other than Bullet Club, has there ever been like cross promotional fucking factions?
A stable over two companies other than those I can't think of.
Interesting. But
I'm not mad at X-Pac's inclusion, but it doesn't.
I'm not either.
Not as. It wouldn't have been necessary. It would have been cool to see just the three of them go in.
Yeah. Now I'm glad that piece of shit Virgil is not in there, Vincent or whatever. Dear God,
got to get that fuck money.
Yeah, for real. Meat sauce my ass, son.
I think. Look, I will also say. I think in whatever incarnation you want to put him in, Sean Waltman should go in the hall soon. Should the Wolfpack go in later? No.
Separately?
No, I think we're good. I think this should encompass all of the NWO that's necessary. I think X-Pac needs a spot. I think Sean Waltman, as you probably call him X-Pac, but if you
6, he's already in DX.
Yeah.
So it's got to be S6.
No, but now I just mean he deserves his own induction separately.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like
1, 2,
he's
3
not
kid,
just in. Yeah, he should get in. Exactly. That retrospective with that win, that shock win over Razor, the entire initial run when he came back, the fact that he's regarded as such an incredible, like, not just a performer, but he's the guy that you had to that you'd be tested with.
Right.
If you couldn't have a good match with him, you weren't going to have a good match.
Right. For sure. And we've had X-Pac in here, so you want to go down the archives for the Store Horsemen, go ahead and do that. Go to Apple Podcasts. Go down the list. I can't remember which episode it is exactly, but goddamn.
I tore my asshole in that episode.
He brought his dog Lola in. It was a whole thing. Good man, Sean Waltman.
And Batista, I'd like Batista going in.
I like Batista going in. I mean, he deserves it.
Yeah,
of course.
That's a great career. He really came on strong after that, especially for, I think if you look at the longevity of his storytelling, the character that he was able to create, the ability for any of us to just cast him off as a body or as a muscle-bound guy to begin with, how easily he could have turned into the next warlord, and yet he studied and he worked and he listened to Ric Flair and he listened to Triple H and he watched Randy Orton and he was like, all right, I think I can do this. And that's why he's doing so successfully in Hollywood right now.
For sure. Shit, that was a more modern heel turn that I actually really enjoyed when he returned and was just dragging Ric Flair's lifeless body fucking out of the dressing room, and then it's like, did I get your attention? Huh?
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. What the because it was so out of nowhere. And then he was just so out of shape and sweaty, and it was so great because it was on the heels of the Bautista era when he returned, and everyone hated it. And, there's been a debate raging on the internet of whether or not Hollywood Batista is a better character than Hollywood Rock. You remember Hollywood Rock?
Oh, God.
Yeah. It's kind of been it. I sort of
Here's
maybe
what it
kind of
was.
lean towards Batista.
I think Batista was the better character.
Yeah.
But The Rock executed what he had, because I think the material was weaker because he did a lot of those Rock concerts where he just sat there and sang.
Sure.
Rock had the advantage of that great match with Hurricane where he put Hurricane over and that was everything. But like, remember, as great as that night with Ric Flair was, then 2 weeks later we got the "Give me what I want, give me what I want, you know what I want, give me what I want."
Sure did.
And like that's still a confusing promo to go back and watch now. There's some Ultimate Warrior promos that make more sense than
but
that
a great Spice Girls GIF after the fact. That's for damn sure.
Give me it. You know what I want. Give me what I want. Didn't they include that in the video game that he's in, Top Gear?
Probably.
And he yells that while he's running around, or whatever it was, 5. I don't know what game he's in, but they scanned him. They used him in a game. And I think I saw that somewhere he runs around and yells
that. It was like
or
Gears of War or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Who else do you think goes in this year?
It's tough to say.
Who's the tag team? What's the tag team they put in?
I don't know, man. It's tough because it's like it's weird to me anyway that they would put in NWO, considering that the 4 guys that they chose from NWO are already Hall of Famers. First of all, and Hogan is a divisive figure in the business, so it's such a strange sort of decision. I don't know. I mean, there's still guys like I don't know. I mean, we always talk about Owen Hart never going in. We always talk about British Bull. Is Davey Boy in?
I don't think Davey Boy's in.
That's weird. Is Miss Elizabeth definitely isn't in, which is weird.
Yeah.
I don't. Hold on. We got technology here. We can see what the fuck's going on.
They do love calling somebody a multiple-time Hall of Famer, though, because
Yeah.
like that's their way of trumping up the stats. So that when they're talking, if you're talking to an average fan who doesn't understand the depth that we do, you tune in and somebody is touted as a 2-time Hall of Famer, you're like, oh, you're immediately telling them a story. You're like, oh, this person has been inducted into the Hall of Fame twice for 2 different things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like the Demolition isn't in, but they're probably not going to go because
they
have
have
the
a lawsuit.
There's quite a few people I think of. Well, I put the question up on the Store Horsemen pages on what stables. In honor of the NWO going in, on what stables that the fans think should go in.
What do you think?
Shit. Nation of Domination all day.
Oh, yeah.
Nation of Domination for sure. I mean, just collectively, they were great, and then what each one was able to do individually. Because, I mean, look, D'Lo Brown ain't going in solo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was great for a little while as the European champion with the fucking chest protector thing.
And did Ron Simmons go in by himself or just as a tag team with APA? Are they in as a tag team or no?
I don't think they're in.
See,
as
it's
a
so
tag
hard
team.
to remember, and I wish their Hall of
I'm
Fame
pretty
was
sure
a little
JBL
more.
is in solo and Ron Simmons is in solo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. There was a tag team I thought of today. The group that I wrote when you posted that question was Evolution.
Yeah.
I think Evolution goes in.
Tag teams. So
Edge and Christian are in as a team or no? I thought the Hardy Boys. I bet they induct the Hardy Boys as a team this year. Are they inducted?
they might. I mean, if they can figure out what the hell's going on with Matt Hardy, because I think Matt Hardy's trying to go to AEW pretty soon after his contract expires, apparently in early 2020.
Look, I love Matt Hardy. I support him. I'm so happy for everything he has and hasn't done. The way he really resurrected his career as Broken Matt Hardy is incredible.
Yeah.
Watching him in that match the other night,
Sad.
It's not even. I'm more just like I know how much pain it looks like he's in, and I hope he's not in as much pain as it looked. Look at this guy.
We know who he is.
Like I was just
we know
saying
why
before.
He's here.
But you don't know why I'm late.
Yeah, there you go. What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
How are you, man?
Good, man.
I'm rushing straight from the #1 podcast in the world, Joe Rogan, coming in here, just talking about the Store Horsemen, talking about how Colby Covington's the best heel in all of both wrestling and the UFC.
Right on.
And
I smelled like elk in here.
Yeah, and I was telling him, and protein. I literally did just have. I've been so busy all day, and I got called into that in the middle of fucking just before I was about to go get a nice lunch.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally, ironically enough, I did Rogan's podcast, and on my way back, I grabbed both a protein shake and a protein bar. So
Nice.
we're about to have to crack a door in here.
You got plenty of protein. Listen, you Vince. He's Vince over here.
God damn it, pal.
You want a steak wrap?
But
Do you know what a burrito is?
We had this incredible talk about how great of a heel Colby Covington is. You guys know who this is, right?
Yeah.
He's going up this Saturday against Kamaru Usman for the championship.
In Vegas.
And once he wins that belt, it's fucking and goodbye.
Did you watch Tito Ortiz versus Alberto Del Rio?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the
fight?
highlight, but I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Nobody with any knowledge of mixed martial arts is surprised by what happened
I'm
there.
sure.
That's what happens when you fight a dude that's a fighter. You get choked from behind, you
Yeah.
tap, or you go out. You get to make your pick.
How long
sure.
was the fight?
No one will ever get out of round 1 against a guy like Tito Ortiz. There is no round 2. It's a round 1. That's a fight till you tap match.
Right on. Well, in the first 2 rounds of this here podcast, we talked about a little bit about Seth Rollins' official heel turn. He's joined up with the AOP, so he's the big bad now on Monday Night Raw, other than Brock Lesnar.
Sorry, the AOP, the only club that matters. Which one's the AOP?
They're the Authors of Pain. The two
Akam
big
and
guys used to
Razor.
dress like the Shield. Now they dress in suits.
Ooh, is that the right move? No, right? That's not good for Seth.
I mean, he needs something.
After all this, isn't that funny? Isn't it crazy? After everything with him, after all the momentum and all that, instead of letting him wrestle and be a great wrestler, here they are going completely backwards. Now he's part of a mellowed out Shield.
Pretty much. I mean, he was drowning, though. You know what I do like about it? There's literally one thing only. It has nothing to do with Seth, really. It has everything to do with Bray Wyatt. Have you noticed just about everyone who's feuded with him has turned evil?
Yeah.
Do you think that's on purpose?
I think they switch personalities because Brian's going face,
Like
right?
He's
I think
yeah,
the point is that like they change personalities because he has multiple personalities.
Yeah.
And it's
like Finn showed up in NXT evil.
yeah.
Seth Rollins has turned evil. And then Daniel Bryan, now his hair is like
Because he
shaved
goes back and forth from turning face to heel,
Totally.
basically. So
And we got our first ever Bray Wyatt in the sweater in the arena on Friday.
I didn't get to see that.
Yeah.
You know,
What was
he's
that
fighting this weekend.
Yeah,
so this
as
weekend
Bray.
As Bray.
So they're gonna make him lose. It's so funny. Who's he gonna lose to?
Well,
Miz.
I don't think he's gonna lose.
Oh no, he's not gonna lose to the Miz.
But it's
thank God.
I thought it was. I heard some people discussing like this aspect of his character, and I agree. I think that is the right move to make the Fiend that much more special. You know what I mean? If you have an alternate version of Bray without it being Finn Balor's demon kind of thing, where it's like, because the demon makes no sense in any internal wrestling logic.
And the demon isn't necessarily he takes pain at the same rate as Finn Balor, right?
Right, he's just like a little more energized. And also there's no rhyme or reason. It's like, okay, well, if you always win as the demon, why would you ever not be the demon? You know what I mean? But the fact that the Fiend only goes after people who have wronged Bray Wyatt,
Right.
like that's such an interesting thing, because then it could be if Sweater Bray does lose, now you have to deal with the Fiend. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not an all the time kind of thing.
Yeah.
Also, like now I'm intrigued. How does he wrestle as Sweater Bray? Does he no sell? Does he sell? Like, what the fuck is that going to look like? I have no idea whatsoever. And so now I'm fucking all in for this match.
It is very interesting. How do they write this?
Yeah.
Do they troll us and make it ridiculous like they did the original Hell in the Cell ending or whatever? Or, it's really, really interesting. My guess is this. Here's my guess. I mean, what do I know? But nothing. But here's, if I was stuck writing this, my first draft before getting notes back from Vince would be, look, we set it up like Bray versus The Miz. I don't know what the storyline even going into this is, why this is happening.
Bray wants Miz's family.
Well, if he he came out and he was like, Daniel Bryan won't be able to play with me, and then somehow turned it into something with The Miz.
Well, he started talking about how he used to have a family of his own, referencing the Wyatt family.
Yeah.
And since, Miz has been sort of befriending Daniel Bryan, then, why not just make the Miz his family his own? And so then he made it clear that he was somewhere in the arena. Miz goes looking for him, and he finds a portrait of Maurice and their daughter, and then Bray is superimposed in the picture with
Where the
his
Miz
kid.
was.
Yeah.
So now Bray has inserted himself into the photo of Miz's family.
Yeah, and then Miz is looking at it. Then Bray shows up behind him and gives him the Sister Abigail, and then that's how we've set up this situation.
Wow, Sister Abigail. Huh. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think that Miz is going to attack Bray earlier in the night. We're going to see it, because he's getting revenge for getting this hurt backstage. So he hurts him backstage. Oh, there you go.
I can hear you.
I can still hear you.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then the Fiend comes out. because it's like, he attacks him, so then he wronged him.
Yeah.
So now he's facing the Fiend. We were expecting Bray Wyatt. We got the Fiend.
Interesting.
Clearly,
I'm
it's a non-title match, right?
No, it's for the.
I
think it's
I don't
for the
know if
title.
they've named it for the Universal title or not. To be quite honest,
Let's take a look here.
here's the thing. I'm very interested to see what they do, how it goes, the whole 9 with Miz versus Bray Wyatt.
It is a non-title match.
It's a non-title match.
Yeah.
What's the?
Oy
So
vey,
there,
Pap.
look, that's how we know it's not. I mean, maybe Bray in a sweater in the ring refuses to fight because he's like, no, like he's the heel glove. I don't want to do it. I'm not gonna. There's so many ways it could go. I
Right.
think it could easily be turned into, and I mean this in a positive way, like a comedy match in the style of Joey Ryan or Jervis Cottonbelly, where they're playing gimmicks, where he's like, play a game instead. Like, I want to do Ring Around the Rosie, like everything, and the Miz is trying to fight.
Sure.
There's 100 ways to play it. I'm interested to see what it is, but I'm also feeling a little bit like this Bray Wyatt Fiend storyline is either a little directionless or everybody's giving such different notes that one clear vision of it isn't there, because you sort of have to quote-unquote let him in, but not everybody has quote-unquote let him in. Like, you're not inviting the Fiend out. Now Bray is showing up. The Fiend is there sometimes. He doesn't sell all the time, but other times he does. Like, the rules of the character haven't been specific over time.
Right.
I'm getting a little lost within it, but it doesn't mean I'm not excited to see whatever. Look, because The Miz is great also, so they're going to turn something fun in this week, potentially fun this weekend. It could be shit also.
Yeah. And it's just, in the added wrinkle of, well, where does Daniel Bryan fit into all of this? Like, he's not injured. He just hasn't been seen since he got, like, somewhat scalped.
I mean, that's
Bray.
the move, right? Daniel Bryan comes out and costs Bray Wyatt the match.
Right. Now Daniel's wronged Bray
Again.
Yeah.
in a big way.
But then it's like he's in
gonna
league
come out
with
with
his
his
mortal enemy, The Miz. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I think you're going to see Daniel Bryan show up with the shaved head, no beard, American Dragon style. People are going to go nuts. He's going to be kind of bad. He's going to cheat behind the ref's back, cost Bray Wyatt the match, so Bray gets a loss, so you can really determine that Bray Wyatt is weak. We want to see the Fiend. That's shitty, too. None of this is...
Well, I mean, look.
God damn it, I just book it. You write it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that Bray will. Bray has a plan. Whether it's a switch, whether maybe something happens at the beginning or during the match, and there's some crazy switch.
Yeah.
Because what does it take? A mask to flip on. He can
Pants
go
underneath.
contactless. He doesn't need the contacts with the red light. Maybe that's a twist, right?
Yeah.
If the lights switched, or if he, it's
think
not
he
a no DQ. It's just a
Just a
non-title
regular
match.
match. So what, you think he like pulls a goddamn doink and like in the middle of
I
the match,
think,
another
yeah.
person comes out dressed like the Fiend?
Could.
Well, here, the other side of this is there's no way we don't see the Fiend on Sunday. It is literally the last show they have to promote, buy some of this shit for your kids for Christmas. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're going to not show your highest merch seller right there. So he's
Buy
going to
this
show up.
$6,000 belt for your kid for Christmas.
There's a part of every day I walk by this little case on my way out of my door,
Yeah.
and there's this case that has the heel hurt gloves in it, and there's a part of me
Mm-hmm.
every day that goes, put them on, and I go, no, you can't wear those.
You have to. Wear
But
them
when
on
I
stage.
do wear them, I feel better, and B, they're very fun to like drive with. And it's like sometimes I'll crack my window a little bit, hoping that somebody sort of just sees my creepy hands on my steering wheel. Like, wow, that's a hurt on it. Goddamn hurt.
Speaking of hurt, the WWE did some cuts this fucking week.
Wow.
Few people not on the roster anymore. That would be the Ascension. They're gone. Former NXT Tag Champions. Luke Harper is the big one that's gone.
That's the big one.
And then there was another one, wasn't there?
Luke Harper
Sin Cara?
is exactly, we were talking last week about how AEW could get a few people and make them, their Kevin Nash and Scott Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Luke Harper is number one.
Mm.
What a, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know. I just don't even know how to put it, but with his physical capabilities, you guys remember the momentum he had at one point last year.
Oh yeah, when he left the Wyatt family.
It was a no-brainer. I mean, he's just so fun, so into it with his face and the look and everything. I think if AEW doesn't immediately capitalize and there should be a low turnover rate with this guy. It should almost be paying homage to the days of WWE, WWF, WCW, you know? It should be like, wow, almost Rick Rude-esque in its switch over.
Well, he's got the 90-day no-compete clause. So he's out of it for 3 months. But that hasn't stopped him from teasing certain things. I mean, he was in pictures on social media with the villain Marty Scurll, who is, his Ring of Honor contract recently wrapped up. He's a well-known member of the Elite with Kenny Omega.
90 days, huh?
Mm-hmm. With Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and
the most illegal thing the WWE does.
Yeah, seriously.
Out of all the illegal things they do.
You're an independent contractor who can only work for one company, and then you have a 90-day no.
What does that mean? Work? You know what I mean? Like, what's work? Is work?
He can't show up.
He can't be on television.
Wrestling promotion on television.
He can't be on a television program.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he could be
90 days
a non-live.
From when?
Yeah.
Yesterday?
From whenever the hell that
about
they
a week
ceased
ago.
The contract. Yeah.
January, February, March.
Yep.
Huh.
So in the post,
so probably through March, he could show up at live events that are non-televised.
Yeah.
Wow.
If only we knew people.
It's a shame we don't know a non-televised wrestling promotion.
Yeah, that's weird.
I think that he will. I think he is first of all, I'd love to see him in New Japan because I think that style would fit him well and would really grow him. If he could spend a year in New Japan alone, I think he's going to grow a lot, right? You look how AJ came in a little more seasoned to WWE after his time there. Nakamura is incredible, even though they haven't used him well. When he
Can I
gets
say
to
something?
ROH
I'm
or
sorry.
AEW, go ahead.
Because you're smart enough to hold on to your thought, but if I don't say this, I always am driving home at the end of these nights like, fuck, I never got back to that. Let me just say something. So I'm on my Spotify the other day. I fucking love music. I listen to it doing everything. I can't write without it. I can't drive without it. I can't shower without it. It is my fucking everything. And it's always different. Maybe it's crazy orchestra. Maybe it's scary movie music. Maybe it's fucking Pink Floyd or rock and roll or jazz, blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. So there I am, deep in a tangent the other day, and I end up going to this algorithm Spotify station. Sometimes I'll pick a station off of a song and this and that. And all of a sudden, Shinsuke's the newer of the two anthems came on. And wow, I had like a solar power fucking nuclear power flashback to the buzz that he had, the momentum that he had. Because I thought to myself, this is great. This is fucking Shinsuke's song, and I'm sort of like, something's a little bit, and I'm like, oh my god, they shit on him.
Yeah.
And it's not like they buried him, because you can't even say that, right? You can't
he's
say
the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah. Right, exactly. But I mean,
you wouldn't know it.
It should be realistically at this
yeah.
point, compared to where we were a year and a half ago, we should be thinking that this whole Fiend thing is a build-up to go up against Shinsuke at WrestleMania for the Universal Championship.
Yeah,
there's no reason that they should have done anything other that he should be anywhere else. You could be selling all the merch. You're allowed to have 15, 20 stars in a wrestling promotion.
For sure.
So why do they limit themselves? Why are they like, let's lessen him, let's lessen him?
Because he wasn't the plan. You know, everything was, you can't be special because Roman has to be special at that time.
And
they need to write their plans for 15 stars instead of 2 or 3, 4.
Vince never sees a foreign-born wrestler the same way as he'll see an American-born wrestler, and that's a tough truth. I remember when Shinsuke came in, people were telling me like, oh, he's the guy who should go against Brock. He should go against Taker. He should go against these big guys.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
He had everything in him as a character and a performer to get to that place, and they've seemed to beat him into submission, right? Because it seems like he's kind of on early retirement. That's how I love hearing everyone he's like, I surf. They pay me a lot of money to get in the ring a couple times, and life's good.
That's kind of where it's at. Because like so many people like Kenta, for example, like he couldn't wait to get back to Japan and like start really competing again. And, Shinsuke's contract was coming up. They're like, are you going to go back to New Japan where you were the fucking ace and you were the biggest thing in the world and they're going to offer you this huge contract? And it's like, nope.
Yeah.
They extended the contract. Happy to
feel
be
like-
in the mid-card.
I feel like somebody like Shinsuke also understands the importance of setting that precedent. Like he's still bridging a gap, right? He's still showing that somebody who comes from New Japan Pro Wrestling in this day and age has developed a style to come work here. And the unfortunate thing is, while he wasn't made that superstar, the next person who comes over and now has the opportunity, because he showed Vince.
I say
right?
put him back in NXT right now.
That'd be interesting.
During this revival of the whole thing. I mean, look at what it's done for Balor. It's completely revived new life into the guy. And, that's a feud we got a little bit. I think they might have matched up a couple times in New Japan, but like those two guys could fucking tear the house down in a feud.
Shinsuke's the kind of guy who's the other champ? The Fiend's one, Brock's the other?
Brock's the other.
Yeah.
The Shinsuke's the kind of guy that they should have on one of those random Monday or Fridays or whatever, just fucking gank the belt out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then restart him where he belongs to be before you turn this guy into fucking Dolphin Ziggler. Right? No one wants an Asian Ziggler, Vince.
Remember when he won the Rumble? Remember
Yeah.
when it looked like he was actually on pace?
Yes.
Like we were like, they finally came back around to him, and then nothing. Just to get back to the point, I think Luke Harper I think Luke Harper will be a great addition to whatever company he goes to.
Sure.
If it's AEW next, I don't know if the name value draws any more other than just he's going to be a great character on
I
that
think
show.
name value means nothing in his AEW character. I think he shouldn't have the name anywhere near Luke Harper.
He'll go as probably as Brody Lee, right?
He trademarked his Brody Lee.
But
And
like he's
Brody
not going to
Lee, I mean, not only does he look like and is shaped like fucking Brody
Bruiser Brody.
Yeah, Bruiser Brody.
Yeah, kind of.
But I mean, it's just great. You couldn't ask for a better name. If we had a writer's room, I'd say Brody Lee. Not to mention that's his name.
Impact on the product will be immense. His impact, for instance, on like ratings on AEW, I don't think that's the thing that's going to knock the dial.
Would you bring him in solo, or would you bring him in as part of Villain Enterprises with Marty and Brody King?
That's if they're going that way, you're going to get a bunch of factions warring. That's an interesting thing too. It doesn't. I think whatever's best. If you find a storyline where you're like he's gonna stand toe to toe with Dean Ambrose, or he's gonna stand toe to toe with Kenny Omega, and he's gonna come in and face someone down. I want to test. I've been missing this. Kenny,
him and Omega would be so crazy.
You got good different contrasts in size and style. They're both storytellers. They're both workers. The promos and the character work they do before would be great. I would rather see him in that, but you bring him into the group, and clearly they're setting up some factions.
Yeah. Do you see Skrull going to AEW? Or do you... Well, better question. Would you rather him go to AEW or to NXT? This is Tony's favorite wrestler that he hasn't seen yet, Marty Skrull, the villain.
I think I've seen him.
I mean, truly, if you asked, I'd say NXT at the moment only because I'm more prone to watch it, and with what they're doing right now, I think the addition of somebody like that, a wild card, you clearly have all these battle lines drawn. You're going to throw somebody like that, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
I think AEW, I am in love with the AEW product a year and a half from now when they've gotten their feet underneath them, and then they get that one big thing that makes it explode, because I don't think it's not WCW. It was not coming off. It's not like when they started Nitro and Hogan was there and the NWO happened and all that, where it was an already established company. They need to figure it out first, and then some big thing will come. That big thing isn't going to be this year. So expecting it to be Marty Scurll or Luke Harper, Rey Mysterio will retire next year and then show up next year, and they'll run a great angle, and that'll be the thing that explodes. It's something like that,
Well, that's kind of why I'm almost like I'm with you of like Luke should probably go to New Japan as opposed to AEW, because then it starts to feel like the latter days of WCW and the early days of the later days of TNA too, where it's like, oh, anybody who retires from WWE, they just pick them up.
Kurt Angle and Christian were the only people who went to Impact and actually made the Impact that way. Everyone else was a Oh, well, I guess, I mean, if you want to fly me out to Orlando twice a
Right.
month, I'll come.
It's like, yeah, we'll take, Damian Sandow. It was just like whoever.
Luke Harper would be great on AEW right now as
Yeah.
Brody Lee. I'd love to see him just take the slightly different path so it isn't so obvious and so linear and
Yeah.
go to New Japan, work 6 to 9 to 12 months, see what happens in a year.
For sure.
Him in the Tokyo Dome would be amazing against someone.
Speaking of the Tokyo Dome, we got the full card for Wrestle Kingdom 14.
Can we squeeze Brody and Ishii on there?
It's possible.
You marks didn't know I knew who Ishii was, did you?
But we got, they got the Legends 8-man tag. I mean, look, there's a bunch of names I could say here. It won't matter to anybody. But Jushin Thunder Liger's in that match.
Whoa.
And he might...
Junior or the third?
No, the original Jushin Thunder Liger.
Wow.
And this year,
Still going.
you got to remember, Wrestle Kingdom is 2 nights. So it's going to be I don't know if it's going to be 2 4-hour shows like, it usually is, or they're going to cut them down. But on night 2, Jushin Thunder Liger is having his final wrestling match, period.
Wow.
Against Naoki Sano, Ryu Lee, and Hiromu Takahashi.
With a run-in from the Ghost of Benoit.
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
Then there's another 8-man tag where some representatives from Los Ingobernables de Japan versus Suzuki-gun.
If the Ghost of Benoit comes out, does he come out with his family by his side?
Oh, my God. They'd be in the other corner, wouldn't they? Damn, a lot of 8-man tags. Then there's a Bullet Club versus Chaos 8-man tag. Okay, then we get Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga versus Tonga Low, and Tonga Low versus Juice Robinson and David Finlay. That'll be good. Lance Archer versus John Moxley in an IWGP US title death match. Hiromu Takahashi versus Will Ospreay for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship.
I really want to have Moxley back, and I really want to ask him, you prefer the deathmatch stuff
Yeah.
over selling thousands of dollars of pooper scoopers in a year? I don't know, man.
For sure.
Maybe I'm too Jewish, but the death match. This is now his second one.
Yeah.
In the course of 3 months. Jeez.
He likes to wrestle and be physical and fucking risk himself. It's just what he's into, which is so strange because this is not the John Moxley who was unmarried and, trying to make a name for himself.
Yeah.
This is I'm started a family and I've made the millions of dollars and I was a merch seller and fuck it. Now I'm still going to bleed and fall on these things. And
I just miss
be
barbed
reckless.
wire. I need
Seriously.
bats and
We got an IWGP Intercontinental title match, Tetsuya Naito versus Jay White. And then the big one for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Kazuchika Okada versus Kota Ibushi. And then that's all night 1. And then there's a lot of TBDs on the second night because it's all based on who wins night 1.
Is there going to be a second heavyweight match the second night? Because that's a weird way to end it, to put that big of a match the first night and not have a title match the second night.
Yes, the heavyweight champion is going to face whoever the heavyweight champion is going to face whoever the Intercontinental champion is for night 2.
And who's in the Intercontinental title match again?
That's Naito and Jay White.
So you think it's Naito and Okada?
Could be.
It always strikes me, New Japan really comes through on those Tokyo Dome shows.
Hell yeah, they
every
do.
year. We've seen Okada and Omega 2 years in a row, Okada and Ibushi now, because Nakamura and Ibushi and Nakamura and AJ before that were just so good. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's going to be a great show. I don't know if I have the stamina for 2 New Japan shows in a fucking weekend, but we'll see what happens.
Tokyo Dome is also what you call it when an Asian girl gives you a blowjob.
That's true. That's very true. Speaking of Japan, Great Muta is a great name for someone who should be in the WWE Hall of Fame, who is not.
Yeah.
1 in the Muda, 2 in the Buddha.
We spoke about the Hall of Fame a little
That was a
bit
good
before
one.
you walked in. Dave Bautista and the NWO
Newt,
going in.
Newt.
And
New World Order.
I cited, as a few others have, how odd it is that they picked Hogan, Hall, and Nash and Six
Why is that odd?
because he's 6, and so there should be 2 other people
No,
in the mix
that's not
there.
why he's 6. He's not 6 because he was the 6th member.
That is why.
That's not why.
That was
That's
why.
that's one of the elements of the name, but that's not exactly why.
What
that's
is
his
the
name.
other element of the name?
It's because it's his name added up. It's 1 + 2 + 3 = 6.
Sure.
He was also the 6th member of the NWO.
Yeah, that's right.
But I mean, who was 4 and 5?
The Giant and Ted DiBiase.
I guess so. Were they wearing the shirt before him?
Yeah.
How many
Not
weeks?
Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase was 4, right? Because he sat in the crowd and he went like
he
that.
He said 4 and he said next week 5. And that was the Giant.
And then 6 was
6.
It's the combination. It's the both. But it is. I mean, it's. I think he's easily identifiable with the group, but it is.
He's definitely. My guess would be 92% of our generation of wrestling fans would say he's the 4th member of the NWO. I picture him as a member of the NWO. I wasn't surprised by that at all, but I had a feeling you were going to bring this up like that.
Well, because as I pointed out to Eddie, the whole thing was before.
You always try to bury Sean Waltman any chance you get.
Does he?
Yeah, he always has. You weren't. This is right before. This is why we had to bring you in.
No, because I brought up the notion of X-Pac heat, and he doesn't believe that's a thing, and I was like, I didn't make it up. It's a thing in the fucking industry. Am I wrong?
It's a term that is a thing, but I will also say that there is.
I know it's a term.
It's a weird term that got developed, but there isn't actually the same heat on him. Like, everybody also loves him. Like, yeah, he's shitting a lot of people's food containers, but
sure.
Also, everybody really enjoys him, and the idea of X-Pac heat for anybody, like the fans never needed him to go away.
I think they did at one point. I think they were booing him just because they were annoyed with
You're
him.
crazy.
I don't know. I don't remember that period.
You're crazy.
I
when
think
were they
Bischoff
booing?
might go in on his own this year as like the manager.
You think after they
slot.
fired him, they're going to put him in the Hall of Fame this
They
year?
fired. That was a figurehead firing. Like he
I
knew that
agree.
going in. They all talked about that.
For
They knew that
sure.
was going to happen. They
For
were like,
sure. But
Eric, you want to sit here until the Fox people get mad and
Right.
we'll let you go?
Yeah, I guess
Eric,
so.
our numbers are struggling. Can we say we hired you to be the creative guy? We'll give you $10,000 a week to do literally less than nothing and make them wonder when you're going to start creating. So it keeps you wondering.
Another figurehead who should probably be in there, Vicky Guerrero.
That'd be great.
I found this little list on the internet of people who aren't in. Rick Martel not in.
He won't go in. I heard on
Really?
Pritchard's podcast he won't go in. He's done with the wrestling business. He was a teacher. He has a family. Was like whatever he did, or he was real estate or something. Whatever he went into.
He's
is
not
real
modeling
estate.
anymore?
Nah, he got out of that. It's a short career.
Yeah.
But he's just kind of like, oh no, it's just a period of my life. I'm done.
Weird.
Yeah.
How about Mike Rotunda or Renard Shyster? Not in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, there's a lot of people who aren't who should be in the Hall of Fame.
William Regal, not in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, there's a fringe one. That one, you can make an argument one way or the other, depending on how you feel. But yeah, like by their criteria, he'll get in eventually.
Tommy Dreamer, not in the Hall of Fame. Does he deserve it?
No.
I mean, look, the tough thing is that Coco Beware is in the Hall of Fame,
Certainly.
so the standard of who should and shouldn't be in is
I
as
think a lot of those
subjective as possible.
ECW guys should be in there. I'd put the fucking Blue World Order in there. I'd put
I would not do
Sabu and RVD.
I'd consider those guys.
Taz.
I consider that.
You know what I mean? What's up?
There's a lot of names still not in. I mean,
RVD's
Triple H is
not
being
in?
held
RVD's
out.
not in.
Undertaker. There are a
Steiner
few
brothers
others.
aren't in.
You know, obviously The Rock is going to have to go in at some point.
Yeah.
They're holding that until they're really desperate.
Bam Bam Bigelow's still not in.
I don't know if they'll ever choose to put him in. That might be one of those guys too that they hold off on a long time
Why
because
is
they're
that?
kind of. They had not a bad relationship, but also just anytime somebody dies young, they tend not to want to go near it because of the implications of what the wrestling business did or didn't do to contribute to drug habits or tough lifestyles or.
If and when they put Bam Bam in, he'll be one of those guys that's added like 2 weeks out that's sort of like
Yeah.
buried under a bunch of crazy news. I feel like they did that with the one guy that was there for the murder of Brody down in Cuba or whatever.
Yeah. Tony Atlas.
No, the other
no.
one. He just went in. What's his name?
Fucking Carlos Colon.
Yep.
Yeah.
They sort of just like hide him in there, or keep him in the 6 out of 8 spot
Yeah.
or whatever.
So I fucking loved Bam Bam. So
He's
much.
great.
I mean, perhaps arguably one of the most agile wrestlers ever.
Yeah.
I went back this year right before WrestleMania because this was my first time ever going to WrestleMania, so I was on a kick where I was just watching WrestleMania main events, and I would watch them in order, WrestleMania 1, 2, and so on. And I got to the WrestleMania 11 main event, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, this is Bam Bam and LT.
That's right.
And again, one of the best, and that has to be so much credit to Bam Bam because that match was very good.
Yeah.
That was a really compelling main event to watch this just as much as Mayweather and Big Show was awesome, where you're like, oh man, or when Stephen Amell came in, you're like, this is how to use an outside person who can't really do it but works really hard to get there, and then is like, it's awesome. And I loved that one. That Bam Bam LT match is good.
Yeah, Bam Bam was the truth, man. I seeing that big fucker do a moonsault just used to blow my goddamn mind. And I remember being so mad at him because he was feuding with Mr. Perfect at one point, and just. God, he deserves to go in. And then, of course, the obvious ones we talked about earlier of Owen Hart, British Bulldog, Miss Elizabeth, all not in the Hall of Fame, which is very strange.
Well, they have to. Those estates have to agree to it.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if they've approached Davey Boy's kids.
I don't know if they have a problem with it. I know Owen Hart's wife has a huge problem with it.
She's definitely not into the idea. I think the Hardy Boys are going in this year.
I don't know. Like,
I think they're going in
because they're not using Jeff, right? Because of his problems.
Yeah, speaking of high flyers,
right?
Yeah.
And then if Matt goes to AEW, it'd be weird if they're like, all right,
he's
well,
not going to AEW.
You don't think so?
No, I think he's working backstage. I know he's in trouble for something. That's why he had to take that bad loss. But I think he's going to work backstage.
I think he wants to be the broken character, man. They're just not going to invest in it in WWE.
Interesting.
Like, they tried, but then it was like, Like, I mean, they literally apologized for the Ultimate Deletion before it happened. They literally had Michael Cole look into the camera and go, this next thing's probably not going to be for you, or sorry that it's happening, but damn it, here it is. And it was just like, don't do that. Let it, Then they did the House Hardy special on, the network, but you'd barely know it was ever there. And God damn it, that was the hottest act in the business at one point. And then WWE got a hold of it finally.
I don't think it was ever going to. There was no way it was ever going to repeat in WWE.
The only way it could have worked is if they literally let them keep doing their own thing,
right?
Which
exactly.
Is so, I mean, I can't imagine how hard it must be, especially since, Vince. I mean, Bray's sort of an anomaly, right? He has a lot of creative control, but
they've given it to him for this,
right? But they've known the Hardys for so long that it's like he probably thinks they like to have fun and goof around and smoke pot and drink.
Well,
so
he knows them as...
He's not going to let them send in a 2-minute, low production value tape to play on their thing. Mm-hmm. So
he remembers Team Extreme. Oh, I sold all this merchandise with you guys as Team Extreme. You jump off the ladders. That's what you do. You guys fucking, you're the babyface Hardy Boys, and not, that's what he thinks of them as. He doesn't want to see no Brother Nero on his television. What else this week? Finn Balor is the new number 1 contender for the NXT title.
Oh, wow.
He'll be taking on Adam Cole next week in a fucking jam-packed NXT episode, because we're also getting Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler for the women's title.
Next week's a big night.
Because they're not getting an NXT takeover for TLC on this weekend, so I guess they're just packing next week's episode, which is craziness. So that continues to roll on.
They should just put those shows on TLC. Those matches. Like at this point, there's no reason that the NXT, the 2 main championships, shouldn't be defended on WWE's TLC that weekend. If we're saying that all brands are on network and we're crossing the line, this is no longer just developmental. Though at least the championship matches, just put them on.
I mean, we got the Viking Raiders versus, they have an open challenge. We don't know who the hell they're fighting. We got Rusev versus Bobby Lashley.
Oh, it's going to be Matt and Jeff. They're going to come out together. And then they're going to get destroyed and all their hips are going to break.
It's the Kabuki Warriors versus Becky Lynch and Charlotte for the women's tag titles. Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy after a month ago when Buddy Murphy knocked on Aleister Black's door. Bray Wyatt versus The Miz. The New Day versus The Revival, because apparently that match has to happen every 3 weeks in order to keep the universe intact. And then Roman Reigns versus King Corbin in a very missed opportunity to have a dog collar match. I mean, the whole thing is then making fun of him for being the big dog. They put dog food in his hair last week. Blah, blah, blah. You do the dog collar match, right?
How do you feel about this idea, though, that if this is in any way a children's product, you're not going to put something around a neck so that a kid is then going to try to repeat that?
I mean, they're having a TLC match.
understandable, but it's not around a kid's neck.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, you jump off a trampoline, you're going to break your leg. You put something around your neck. Because I have to imagine that's the conversation somebody had at some point where they're like, that's why we can't do that
Or
thing.
Vince just thinks it's too pro wrestling to have a fucking dog collar match. That's very old school.
If they're doing anything like a dog, it's going to be barking like one.
That's right. Oh, man, I miss Trish Stratus so much.
Did you hear me?
I did, Chairman. Hello.
Bark like a dog.
Trish, You Fucked Up shirt still available on ProWrestlingTees.com and our Facebook page, like I said at the beginning of this episode. Yeah, like, you know, I haven't really the Roman Reigns Corbin feud hasn't done much for me going into this thing.
I think I'm enjoying it a little bit more than I'm enjoying Lashley and Rusev.
For sure.
In terms of the two leading angles, just going storyline versus storyline, there's just it's still grounded in the pro wrestling. Clearly, they each think they're best. They really humiliate him on television. They have this awkward thing, and then versus the other, just gaga of, we're having a divorce. We're signing it here. Rusev does or doesn't want to be married to his wife.
Divorce proceedings with entrance music.
You know, like in a Donald Duck T-shirt. I love Rusev too.
He's the best.
He made everything funny. He does the most with. He does more with very little than I would imagine.
Yeah.
I got a chance to meet him at one of my friends' weddings and hung out with him and Lana for the night, and he is just as funny in real life.
Oh,
like
for the night. Wait a second.
Ayo, new
What ended up
cuckolding
happening?
angle.
Oh yeah, that's where this whole thing started.
yeah.
She got mad because I was with him too much. So
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Rusev gay.
But well, I guess you and CM Punk, because CM Punk made his return to backstage this week and said that kind of the only thing he really liked recently was the dog food and the hair of Roman Reigns. That everything else kind of sucks. He said that they need to lose the red light for the Bray Wyatt matches. He said that, you know, this Lana Rusev angle is just unbelievably stupid. But then pitched his own idea for it, and that
what was it?
he said that Rusev should win this match, be not involved with them. Then eventually Bobby Lashley gets tired of Lana, dumps her. She gets a tag team, and then they fight Rusev and Bobby Lashley, who are now best friends because they're essentially Eskimo brothers.
Should be the name of their team.
The Eskimo Bros. And then they have a match. Oh, then even the tag team that's involved with Lana gets tired of her, and then they have a match where the loser has to have Lana as their manager, not the winner.
That's funny, but I'm already exhausted by this
this
storyline. So hearing all of that, I was like, "Holy shit!"
It's actually pretty fucking good. It's like a 6-week plan. I mean,
He said, "Hey, I got your book through Mania, Vince. You're
that's
welcome."
a really funny thing. I mean, that's what we basically. That's sort of a storyline that we pitched at one point for. Like a Storecade. That was at one point. It was loser gets like a.
Oh yeah. Like if you win, you get chopped
for the chops.
not if you lose. Yeah. I mean, you know, CM Punk's a creative guy.
Yeah, because it was going to be a triple threat match at one. Yeah.
And I sort of love him because he's just like. He's basically daring them to let him go. Like, he doesn't care. Like, what does he care really at this point? He's like, I'm back in, but I'm not back in, or it's massive work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like is always a possibility in these things, and he is going to lead to a match between him and Rollins at some point, and that him and Vince have totally made up.
Let me ask you something. Is he looking right at camera when he's saying these things, CM Punk, or does it seem like it's coming off the top of his head?
Well, it's like conversational. He's saying it like to
But he's
Paige
looking at the
and to
camera and them?
No, he's looking at who he's talking to. Sometimes he'll look at the camera, but not.
Huh. So I'm wondering if it's impromptu or not.
Because
Because
it's
look, this show. No, I would imagine the backstage isn't produced enough to have stuff on a prompter other than major talking points for Renee.
Yeah,
Renee's stuff, because if it's in a prompter,
course,
that means somebody wrote it, and none of this feels like they put in the effort of writing something week to week.
So then that means that production doesn't know what CM Punk's gonna do before he does it.
Yeah.
So either they're in on it or they're not.
Yeah.
So they're either going, maybe this is good, maybe this isn't good, or they're the ones encouraging him to do that.
Yeah. Well,
So
he's the only
I think they're
part
just letting it really operate like it's an NFL Sunday
I'll tell
game
you
day
this.
analysis where they just stand there and they're like, well, I think they need to pass the ball more.
Well, here's what's important is that we're talking about this show 4 weeks in a row for the first time ever, and that's what's important to them. This is just goes to show you how smart Fox is.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying since I found out about this deal. Little things like this, and this is FS1, right?
Yeah.
So they're just plugging it right in. They're just sucking up more hundreds of thousands of people, and that's how you start it. Starts baby steps.
Because he's the only part of the show that seems like they're going to talk about things that aren't just like, recycled gibberish. Like they added Ryan Satin to the situation, who's been running Pro Wrestling Sheet for years now, and all he ever says is so-and-so signed a new contract. You know what I mean? Like that's his big updates. No talk of what went wrong in Saudi Arabia. No talk of the wrestlers that got released. No talk of Sami Zayn getting in the face of that homophobic fan over the weekend. There's no talk of anything that's remotely scandalous, which is what was so good about the old UFC show. They talk about all of it. This so-and-so tested, we had 2 wrestlers get suspended this week for wellness violation. Epico Cologne, right?
Yeah.
And Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
Both got suspended for a month. And, no mention of that type of stuff. But so it's like if you're going to be the backstage show, talk about it. It's the news is there. So what now you have the chance to put your own fucking slant on it if you want.
Yeah.
So you might as well talk about it. It just doesn't look authentic when it's weirdly like, we got to play it safe and down the middle.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. But all that to say that we got a big pay-per-view this weekend. I mean, semi-big pay-per-view. I hate the concept of this pay-per-view, but it's the thing that we have to live with. It happens every year. The TLC. You guys want to make picks?
I have no interest in it.
TLC, I'm going to pick Left Eye Lopez
There
on
you go.
this one.
There you go.
I'll take Chili.
This is going to be crazy, sexy, and cool.
I don't know. But, again, a lot of the WWE pay-per-views that seem underwhelming going in usually over-deliver. So,
There's definitely a couple good matches in there. There's a few that are going to be exciting. The obvious tag team match, Charlotte and Becky against the Kabuki Warriors, is going to be awesome.
Yeah. And look, I made fun of the fact the New Day and Revival fight all the time, but have they had a bad match? No. So, we'll see what happens.
I've been kind of enjoying the New Day's podcast.
I heard their podcast is great. I haven't listened to it yet.
It's fun. They're great. It's the three of them talking.
Right.
They'll get their footing. Right now, they're just going over the creation of the group a lot. Today, or what I was listening to today, they were listing all the different names that they were given.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, WWE is also not quite sure what a podcast is just yet. They gave them like 37 minutes, and I was like in the first episode, they were like, well, we're going to get cut off now. And it's like, why? You can go another 30.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
If you have another 30 minutes, go.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep listening anyway. So
you think Vince McMahon's sitting in the podcast studio?
Of course he is.
2 more minutes, damn it.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Stop telling about the name again.
Oh, something that this is speaking of Vince McMahon, we didn't talk about this, and it's of no consequence, but it's such a funny, weird thing to me. The whole 6'7" thing. Have you heard about this?
No.
How on television, Samoa Joe was talking about I think it was Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh yeah, he's a beast. He's like 6'6", almost 6'8". And a lot of people drew attention to that, like, what does that mean? What is 6'6", almost 6'8"? Why won't you just say 6'7"?
Yeah. Right.
And literally, Kevin Owens tweeted that thing had happened to him years ago. He was watching WWE programming, and someone mentioned a wrestler was 6'6", almost 6'8". What the fuck why don't they say 6'7" on WWE television? Again, according to whoever you're listening, who you believe, Vince McMahon does not want people to be called 6'7". He hates the notion.
I love Vince
of
McMahon
6'7".
so much. I love everything about that human being.
But again, It's so weird, but it's so specific. You totally believe it.
Fucking
6'7", and damn that.
Of course not.
Chairman, hello.
What can I say? It appears as though you guys have caught another one of my quirks that I never thought people would know about.
Well, I mean, it is awfully strange. I mean, 6'7" is pretty tall, but you have to be almost 6'8". What's wrong with the number 7?
Well, I mean, don't you feel it a little bit? Isn't there just something about it, 6'7"? Oh, it's just not, it doesn't have a ring to it. Either you're 6'6" or you're 6'8". Everyone knows. That's how I taught my kids. Have you ever asked Stephanie to count to 10?
She goes
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10.
6, almost 8.
6,
9,
almost
10.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than when these referees are doing a count out. 5, 6, 8.
Imagine if the ref was counting and that is a 6. Almost 8. 8.
I would like to announce going into the Hall of Fame 6 and 8.
What a straight, I mean.
You think that's weird? I almost named him the 1, 2, 4 kid.
I can't even begin to
I love
rationalize that.
it. Good. I love it. I want all of that. We're going to miss him when he's gone.
Of course we are.
A 1, a 2, a 3, a 5.
Oh, God.
6,
I
7
hope
is
it's
not an
true.
option.
I hope it's 100% true.
7 looks too much like an L, and I'm a winner.
Yeah. 7 upside down L? I think not.
Oh, God. What happens if someone brings you a burrito and says that it was $7?
What the hell's a burrito?
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, ironically enough, they've announced 7 matches for the TLC pay-per-view. Almost 8 matches for the TLC pay-per-view. We can go ahead and make some picks, Johnny and...
Wait a second. What was your question about the burrito?
I said, what happens if someone brings you a burrito and it's $7?
I'll tell you, that happened to me once.
Really?
And I almost ate it.
Oh, my God. Damn it, I walked directly.
Why would you encourage that?
I didn't mean to.
They're almost 8 right there. Vince has a good sense of humor.
Fucking Vince. God, we love the chairman. So, anyway, so these almost 8 matches. Like I said, we got the Viking Raiders versus to be determined. I'm gonna imagine it'll probably be the OC if I had to pick anybody. Or I don't see a tag team that would be like debuting or any shit like that. They already had an open challenge on Raw. It was answered by the Street Profits when they had a nice face versus face match. Street Profits lose. They shake hands after. The fans enjoyed it. It was a good match, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So it's probably just going to be Viking Raiders for the win this weekend.
They always say the surprise should win. Like if you have to replace somebody, then whoever you replace them with should win the match.
Uh-huh.
But I would have to imagine, even with it being a surprise, like you're bringing someone out, Viking Raiders are going over.
Yeah, because who even should be the tag team champions right now?
Is there anybody who's been injured who would be returning that we've forgotten? Because that's the only way I could see it making sense if there's like a big team. Like I know the Bar's not getting back together, but if the Bar showed up, I'd be like, oh, that would be the way to bring them back. You know,
Usos, we haven't seen them in a long time.
That's it. If you bring the Usos back and they beat them, that's it. I like if it's the Usos are going over and they're taking the tag team championships away because that's huge. That would be awesome.
Because I don't think they're injured or anything. I think they just took them off TV after old boy got in trouble again.
Yeah, which time?
Yeah, exactly. So are you picking Viking Raiders or are you picking Mysterious Team?
Can I do that caveat that if it's the Usos, it's the Usos, but
one.
otherwise, then I'll go Viking Raiders.
Tony?
I'm going to go with the mystery team.
Interesting.
Is this for the championship?
It is.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm going to go with the mystery team.
Okay. Rusev versus Bobby Lashley in a tables match. I'm it weirdly doesn't feel like this is the end of this.
Yeah.
Because
And if it's the end of the feud, then Rusev goes over. But I think you're going to do the shenanigans. Something's going to happen. Lana gets involved, and somehow Rusev goes under. But if Rusev goes, this is the weird thing about the story. If Rusev loses, it almost seems like it doesn't matter. It's like he's.
That's what. Yeah.
And if he wins, it doesn't seem like it matters. Like who?
Well,
you
it's
know?
kind of like the storyline itself. It seems to tank on television, but it doesn't matter because all the clips of it online have massive amounts of hits.
And if they've gotten a divorce and Rusev didn't care they got a divorce, then what does it really matter? So he's just trying to fight to get revenge.
He just wants to fight Lashley for revenge, yeah.
Which also, to be honest, if I was done with the whole situation, that's the last human being. I'm let's just fight anyway. This is a pretty big dude. But I'll go Lashley because I don't think it's over, and I think that's the only way you can really extend it out.
I'm kind of the same mind there. Tony?
I'm going to go with Rusev.
Okay. The Kabuki Warriors versus Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair.
Are the belts on the line?
They are. And it is a tables, ladders, and chairs tag team match.
Who's got the belts? The Kabukis?
Asuka and Kairi Sane are the tag team champions. The women tag team champions.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Charlotte and Becky on this one.
I think this is the only and best way to put the belts on them, and I think that otherwise it doesn't leave much left. The Kabuki Warriors have gone over 2 singles stars. I think it's Becky and Charlotte.
Yeah, I think we get a misplaced green mist, and Asuka spits it in Kairi's face.
Oh, so dumb. Okay, that makes sense.
And then Charlotte and Becky pick up the win.
I hate it, but you're right.
And we get the return of Becky 2 belts.
Since I love you guys, would you like an exclusive?
Oh, my.
Since I love the Store Horsemen and I love scooping the melts more than anybody, I want to announce who will be the mystery partners going up against the Viking Raiders.
Really?
Yes.
Exclusive, tell us.
It will be the Patriot Cowboys.
What? That's so stupid.
Or perhaps it will be the Saint Ravens. Or the Giant Bills.
He's reading Sunday's football matchups.
I'm certain.
Perhaps they will be going up against the Lion Titans. I actually like that name.
That's at least 4 different teams you've brought up here.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of action.
Yeah.
Feels like an episode of What's the Odds with Steve.
Seriously.
I've got about 49 or more.
Oh, God damn it.
The Chief Packers.
Yes.
All right. I'll see you guys in a bit.
Thank you, Chairman. So we're all in agreement, Becky and Charlotte.
Hi.
Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy.
Doesn't matter one way or the other, but
Right.
it's Aleister Black.
Yeah, I don't think you can beat him yet. Bray Wyatt versus The Miz.
Oh, fuckers.
And are we counting that as the main event? I mean, there's no
I think
singles.
the tag match is going on last. Becky and Charlotte.
I think
and the
Reigns
Kabuki
and
Warriors.
Corbin might go last.
The dog match.
That's the TLC match.
That opens. I think you
Yeah.
open with that.
I've had time to think about this since we originally talked about this Bray Wyatt thing, and you guys think there's any
I love that
chance
he's talking about the time we've
that
been
the
on the
f-
podcast.
that the Fiend, you guys think there's any chance that the Fiend and the Daniel Bryan thing is over?
No.
No way, right?
No.
All right. Well, who's the champion right now? Is it me?
It's tied
me.
between Eddie and Johnny.
But he
They
didn't claim the
tied.
belt, so it's sitting in my place,
Oh,
which I'm not nearly as excited about.
yeah.
I just don't like I don't like having to put it in the apartment. It could have been a nicer belt than the WWE logo one. It just makes me realize what I'm really criticizing is the belt's design. That it's just this big WWE logo.
It looked cool when The Rock had it for some reason. After
Look,
that,
I mean,
it just,
The Rock makes The Rock made G.I. Joe look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Rock makes Jumanji look mediocre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bray Wyatt on this one. Because I think there's going to be a disqualificaciones, as they say in Española.
Interesting.
And so I'm going to reverse the polars here and say that as a result of a disqualification, your winner, Bray Wyatt. Because I think someone's going to jump in there and try to hurt him.
I agree.
Are there
I think-
disqualifications in TLC?
Well, this is just a straight
this is a regular
singles
match.
Right.
Look, the only thing that's tripping me up is that it's a non-title match, which is where Daniel Bryan could cost Bray Wyatt a match, and you're not hurting the Fiend character.
Right. Because why else would they really decide?
There's
It's
something
sweater
very
time.
specific about it being Bray Wyatt, it being non-title.
Yeah.
It's not the champ. I agree with that decision that they're doing that.
It's weird to me. Is he's coming down with the blue belt?
Yeah. He's got his
The
blue
Blue
belt.
Universal
the Fiend
title?
has his face skin.
And so he's going to come down with that blue belt, not defend the blue belt. He's got to
Just
look.
has it.
Yeah, it's Daniel Bryan's causing a disqualification. Technically, Bray Wyatt wins, but he doesn't really win.
Yeah, going Bray Wyatt. New Day versus Revival for the SmackDown tag team titles. The New Day are the current champions.
Then they're keeping them.
What
What do you think, Tony? He's still thinking about Bray Wyatt.
That's an interesting one. I'll go with whichever one Chris doesn't pick on this one.
I'm picking the New Day.
Oh shit.
There's an interesting interview with Kofi Kingston about why his character doesn't seem to give a shit that he lost the title. It was actually kind of sad because he said, well, I mean, you saw how they had me lose, right? Would my character have any right to challenge for it again after fucking...
Yeah, but I think this is just Kofi Kingston should have been kept in the main event picture as a main event player because I would have loved to see Kofi Kingston against the Fiend, and the Fiend takes him out. That's a great challenger. Mm-hmm. That to me was an easy lob. You get 2 to 4 matches out of that with some storyline stuff. I don't know why you can lose the title and still be a main event contender without a case. Like, you lost the belt, but why would you not still be around the title picture? But anyway. Yeah,
it was a very wind out of the sails sort of interview. It was just kind of like, I mean, I got beat up in a few seconds. Like, you know what I mean?
But also, but a face champion, look, John Cena made a 15-year career off of saying, yeah, I lost. Okay, I'm going to be back, and I'm going to do this again.
Right.
Like,
but he put up fights in when he would lose.
Yeah, look, 7. But yeah, then he also got suplexed 16 times, and he can't. Like, that's what I mean. Is a character can still say, yeah, you know what? I got knocked down. Somebody caught me. They caught me once really quick, and it'll never happen again. You learn how powerful somebody is the minute they snatch you out of midair. Now I know, and he's going to have to watch out. Why can't he come back and fight?
I agree. They just didn't book him that way.
Fight.
You know what I mean? So yeah, you're going Revival?
I'm going to go with New Day on this one.
Okay. I would rather they book Corbin to win. I just don't think they're going to. So I'm picking Roman Reigns over King Corbin.
That one I'm going Corbin for. Shock the world.
Okay.
I'm close to picking Corbin on this one. That was what I was going to say, too.
Go ahead.
Because my thinking, like, I don't know if I think this one's over yet. Yeah. I know this should be the blow-off, but it feels like you can get one more thing out of this. Unless, look, the other side of it is, unless the next thing is that Roman Reigns is winning the Royal Rumble. If that's next for him, then this is a perfect setup to win over Baron Corbin and get ready for January.
I mean, we talked about it. The rumors are out there that WrestleMania 36 is Reigns versus The Fiend.
I'm going to go Reigns just because he needs this one in terms of the story.
You picked Corbin. Conspicuous by his absence on this card, Seth Rollins, the newly turned heel main eventer.
You asked for it, Kevin.
Wait a minute. I just had a thought.
What?
Could the AOP be the mystery team that fights the Viking Raiders?
They could. It would be a little out of nowhere. That's a big, nice Haas match. There's can the Viking Raiders lose if AOP is a surprise and they're dominant and Seth wins? Seth helps.
Because the Viking Raiders are faces. They're like
sort
LOD.
of. Yeah, I guess they are.
I didn't think about that at all. Because if it's not the OC. And it's
because
now
my
you
gut
have
is
the
that
tag
it's not
team
time to
champions.
take off. It's not the time to take the straps off Viking Raiders, but they don't care. It doesn't, they don't matter. They don't matter.
Think about what WWE thinks matters is that'll make your head explode. But apparently, Rollins nursing a little bit of an injury, and that's why he's not on the card. Apparently, he was scheduled to face Cedric Alexander this past week, but instead they went with the heel turn angle so that he didn't have to get physical.
What's the injury?
I don't recall, but that's what they're saying as to why he turned heel all of a sudden and why he's not going to be on the TLC card. Also, no AJ Styles so far. No Shinsuke Nakamura so far.
I could bet they just go with a shorter show. They've done that recently where they did like a 2.5 hour.
Yeah. Well, there's been other stories that Vince McMahon has gotten an affinity for not announcing matches because it creates social media buzz when you're announcing a bunch the day before or the day of.
Look, in this day and age where things are so on demand and immediacy, and you have that kind of a platform, it's not a terrible approach. You know, like we know that when it comes to historical roast, you can promote it for the full month.
Yeah.
But really, people aren't starting to make the decision about whether to go a week or 2 out. 2 weeks out is usually when we're getting the most play of like, this is when we can turn ahead. The rest is just recognition and awareness.
I'm of two minds about it because it's like, if you have an amazing main event or marquee match, that'll get butts into the seats. That'll get buy rates. That'll get people to subscribe to see the damn thing. I get Vince's reasoning of, well, if I announce the day before and it looks good, I'll get more subscribers like in the short term there. And then there's also something to be said about like what he's been able to do with the brand name WrestleMania. Now it doesn't matter who's main eventing WrestleMania. Yeah. As soon as those tickets go on sale, just about they're gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think he's trying to create that with the rest of his properties, but you know, it gets tough. It's the same problem where it's like you don't know what to give a shit about. You know what I mean? When you're not announcing matches,
it's
and
a very
nothing
weird
seems like
in-between.
a big deal. Nothing seems important.
Yeah.
It's just like, why am I watching? Sometimes is how I fall into that. But again, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens at TLC. We'll see what happens at the upcoming Wrestle Kingdom. We'll see what happens next week on NXT. We'll see what happens next week on AEW. The Young Bucks are now the number one contenders for the tag team titles over there. They're going to face SCU. Jericho's going to fight Jungle Boy in a non-title match, which should be interesting. Jericho's doing a great job of putting over younger talent over there. I will say that. He's made Sammy Guevara look like a star. He made Scorpio Sky look great. He's going to make Jungle Boy look great. Just the fact that he's intermingling with all these people and making them look way, way more mage is just some good shit. So hats off to you, AEW, in that regard. Everything you're doing with Jericho and Cody is outstanding. Again, everything else, we just got to pump it up a little bit for me. But we got to pump it up because Tony's about to go to bed. Where can we find you in the meantime, Pony?
Tomorrow night, Columbus, Ohio, Newport Music Hall, and then Cleveland, House of Blues, Pittsburgh, the Rex Theater, Plano, Texas, New Year's Eve, and then straight into Houston, San Antonio, Kill Tony's and stand-up shows. I have a new Tony Hinchcliffe stand-up comedy page on YouTube. I believe that's called Tony Hinchcliffe Comedy or Stand-Up or something. I don't know. It has 0 views, 0 subscribers. Literally, I haven't tweeted about it or anything. Whoever's seeing this now, you could be the first subscriber on what's going to be probably where my next fucking special drops if my career keeps going the way that it is. It's great. It's great. That's a joke about my career, but anyway, I'm too dirty for Netflix right now. Yes. And then it keeps going. Calgary, Canada. Vancouver, Canada. It goes on and on. I can't understand how I last so long. I must have superpowers. It's Golden Pony, Kill Tony, live every Monday here at the Comedy Store. Theo Von this week, secret guest for episode 420 the week after that. So if you guys like WWE Hall of Famers, you might want to swing in for that Kill Tony.
Shorty T episode and VOV. I like
420.
Eddie.
Find me on social media, Instagram and Twitter, at Eddie Firth on Twitter, and I am Eddie Firth on Instagram. Wednesday night, December 18th, that's next Wednesday after we record Store Horsemen, we are roasting Santa Claus in the Belly Room at 10:30. Get your tickets. I have 2 pair to give away to Horseman listeners, so follow Fictional Roast, Historical Roast, and me on Instagram, and I'll get you guys a set of tickets. Then I will be at the Ice House with the Liars Club on December 27th, at Sycamore Tavern on December 31st, celebrating New Year, and then back at the Comedy Store on January 29th, we're roasting the Dead Presidents.
I think I'm on the Liars Club December 20th, but I got to check again because my schedule's out of control. Follow me on Instagram where I'm blowing up like Lizzo's uncovered ass at a basketball game. At Chris_please. Get at me. Get at us at Store Horsemen on all of the things. And never forget, Store Horsemen are your hookup. Holla if you hear us.
Oh, we got way more out of that than I